Hey everybody, it's Eric again, and we have finally moved on from the back of the car, and we're moving on to the doors now. We did the doors kind of 90% before, so they're pretty close, but we're going to go double check all the alignment and everything on here, make sure we have it where we want it. Do the fenders. Actually, we're going to start with the fenders. Before I took the hood off, I measured everything here where the gaps are. You see the gap here was a 1/4 inch, 5/16 here, 1/4 inch here. So the fenders in general need to come in by a 1/16 of an inch at least on both sides. This side over here, I think I already figured out the issue. The door was sticking out too far. So I've moved that door in so you can see the fenders sticking out too far right there. So we're going to move this fender over to line up with the door again and then see where we are, take the measurements again, see how things look. So once we get the fenders width in the right place, then we'll go and make sure the doors are all lined up and everything, and then we'll start working on gaps. Yay, everybody's favorite. The gaps are not too bad. It's a little tight here. So if we can slide the door forward a little bit, that'll save me from having to grind off anything here. And then, there's places we need to build up, places we need to take off, but we'll figure it out. But first order of business is get the fenders in the right place and the front of the car and everything, make sure that's all good. So we'll start with that. Alright, so we spent a considerable amount of time working on gaps and stuff today, just getting things lined up. So the back of the car now, we slid the door forward just a smidge to give ourselves the 3/16 gap we need back here. So it's too big in places now, but that's alright, we can fill that up. But it's not too narrow, which is harder. The front here is close. We got a decent 3/16 most of the way. It gets tight down on the bottom here. Tight in here. So we got the fender, you can see here, bumps out right there. So I know I need to grind that back a little bit. We pulled the fender in a little bit, so I think we're good here. It was 58 and 3/32 before with a 1¼ inch gap, and it is now 57 and 31/32. So we moved it in 1/8 of an inch ish. So it's about 1/8 of an inch. So we're close. So we can futz with this stuff a little bit. It can come out a little bit. We're still okay. The front here, we were not able to get this pulled in as much as we'd like. It's pretty close, but not exactly right. We got this thing lined up pretty well now. As you can see, it's not exactly right, but it's pretty close. We didn't really do anything on the other side of the car. We did work on this little bit here. This front little bezel fits pretty nice on this side. As you can see, it does not fit that nicely on the driver's side, so we've got some work to do over there. But it's coming along. So next time we'll do the same treatment on the other side of the car. It's the same thing. The door needs to come forward a hair, just a little bit. Then we'll adjust the fender and stuff. And then when we're happy with all that, we'll throw the hood back on and check everything and see if it's good. Once we're happy that all the panels are in the right place, then I'll go through and work on the gaps. Weld them up, grind them down, whatever needs to be done, and I think we'll be okay. One area we are having trouble with on this door is the door tends to hit right there in this spot. So I'd taken a screwdriver and I was trying to push that out of the way, but I got to really move that inside edge there. And it does the same thing up in here somewhere too, so I'm hoping I can just go in there and take a grinder and grind some of that metal off, or just pound it out of the way or something, because the gap's pretty nice, so I don't really want to open up the gap anymore. So that's kind of annoying, but hopefully I can take care of that. I had to mash this guy down a little bit here to get this to be in a good level. It's not great. We end up with a little bit of a dive in here, like Roger had on the Camaro he was working on, but to get those gaps to line up there, I don't really have a choice. That's kind of is what it is. Anyway, so that's going to do it for now. We'll pick it up next time and move on to the other side of the car. Alright, well, we already pushed the car back, but we spent a bunch of time on this today working over here. We got the door gaps okay. They're a little tight along the top here, okay at the bottom. The door doesn't really open and close very well. You know, I've putzed around with that striker a lot and I just can't seem to get it in the right place. We got this reasonably happy here. The gap's still too big, but everything else positions well with all the shims we have everywhere and stuff. So next time we come back, we're just going to try and nudge the fender back a little bit. You can see it's you know, it's almost 1/8 of an inch too far out. But the lines and stuff are decent. So if we can get this to just nudge back a little bit here, I think we're in good shape. We checked square on this thing and it's within 1/16 of an inch. This side is a little longer, which is good because it needs to come back anyway. The gaps across here, I think we're pretty close now. I think we're probably still going to be off by 1/16 of an inch here or there because the fenders aren't perfectly straight. The hood's not perfectly straight, I don't think. So it's going to have a little bit of stuff to it, but we'll see. So next time, get this thing nudged back, hopefully in the right place. Then we're going to get the hood back on, but I need to build that little hood spring jig thing that I designed to get hopefully get the hood springs on a little easier. We'll weld that up and show you what that looks like next time. Then get the hood on, and then hopefully everything's in the right place, and then we can get to work on welding at the gaps and doing all that stuff. So we're getting close. All right, so last day we worked on the car here. We spent about 3 hours on the hood. We got it pretty close. It's not too bad. It's really painful to line these things up. I've never done it before, and it was pretty horrible. The whole hood was shifted over too far this way, and there's no way to adjust the hood that way. And we kept trying different things, and eventually I just pushed the hood, just mashed on it basically, and just tweaked the hinges a little bit, and there you go. Now it's okay. So I'll give you an idea of what we have here. We are a little snug in the corners here. I'm probably going to have to section the fender a little bit here to make some room there. As you go across here, it does open up in the middle here, as I mentioned before. The fender or the hood or something is not quite straight here, but that's what it is. And then we're good down here at the bottom, a little bit wide, but we don't have all this stuff cinched up yet, so that's pretty good. And then along the front, we got to do some work with this piece here. The holes in the fender don't line up in the right place, so we can't really get this piece where it's supposed to go. So that needs a little bit of work. And as you can see, these two things don't really line up exactly the same way. That gap opens up right there, and I'm not really sure I can do anything about that. So you have to add metal to the hood or fiberglass to this or something, I don't know. Coming across, you can see this gap is still not exactly right. It's pretty close, but we're almost there. And then you see this side is pretty tight here, so the hood looks like it wants to come toward the passenger side of the car, but then all the gaps are screwed up if we do that. So I think that's just going to be the way it is. And then on this side here, this is a little too high right through here, but we got the back lined up pretty well, nice. And you can see this side's a little snug in here too. But overall it's pretty good. And we don't have the hood latch in yet, so you can see it wants to sit up a little bit. Hopefully we can get this thing to sit down where it's supposed to go, but in order to get the back of the hood lined up right, that's where the hinges had to be. So still got a little spring in it right there. Anyway, that's that. So we're gonna keep fiddling with this, hopefully get it wrapped up here today, and then moving on to some more stuff. All right, after considerable wrangling, things getting closer here. Still need a little more work to do, but this piece that I'd mentioned before didn't really fit worth a crap. It's fitting on there pretty nicely now, so that's not awful. So if we can get this fender to come over a little bit, we can tighten up this piece here. Should be good. This side looks real nice over here. We got this pretty good. We have not been able to get this to lay down flat here no matter what we've tried, so I think we're just going to have to live with that, short of beating the snot out of this with a hammer. So that's it. I think we're gonna call that done for the alignment stuff, and we're gonna move on to the gaps on the doors now. All right, so we kind of wrapped up here, pulled this stuff in here, got this pretty close. I have to re-drill the holes in the fender here for this guy because they just don't line up at all. They line up fine on this side. As you see, things look pretty good over here. Not too bad. Just gotta adjust it all into the right place there somehow. But anyway, so that's pretty good. We finally got this looking somewhat reasonable. So one of the things that we found was we were trying to move the top of the core support back and forth here to get this thing lined up, and we're having a lot of trouble. And eventually I hit on the idea of moving the bottom of the core support. So pulling the bottom of the core support out this way tilted this whole piece up, which closed that gap up. So for anybody else that's running into that, the core support on the bottom actually helps move this gap surprisingly a lot. You know, we're still fighting with this gap here. It's a little tricky. You know, if I get this thing where I want it here, then it opens up the gap too much there, so I kind of have to smash that up there to get this gap good. So we may end up having to shave off the fiberglass here. You know, the hood seems like it's in the right place, so that is what it is, I guess. So we got all that locked down. We moved on back here. I got this guy wrapped up on the top here. So this was a pretty big gap. This was over a quarter of an inch in this gap here, and now we got my 3/16 shim here, and this is just beautiful through here now. It's a little snug right in through here, but you can see it's pretty nice. So we got that good. We had to pull the door out right here, kind of bend this so it busted up some of the work I had here. So there's a little bit too much filler in this area anyway, so when I sand that back down, that'll lower this edge a little bit, and that'll help. But you can get a look at this. So this, just like we did on the deck lid, right, we welded all of this up in through here, built that edge up. Well, it looks pretty nice. I'm not sure it's going to be undetectable. You got stuff like this going on here, but maybe put a little more weld in some of those areas like that. But it's pretty good. This area up in here looks real nice, so it's pretty decent. The door gap looks pretty sweet. Still have to do the bottom. The bottom's about a 1/16 of an inch too wide down there, so I got to do a little work on that. About here down, I'd say. But this looks really good up here at the top, which is awesome. Pretty happy with that. So that's going to do it for this video. I'll go ahead and post this, and you know, we'll just keep on working on the gaps from this point. And I'm going to post another video on this little tool that I built for doing the hood springs. I'll post that and show you how that thing worked. That was pretty cool how that worked out. But anyway, take it easy, everybody. Oh, yeah, let's give you the pull-out shot here. Looks nice, looks nice. All right, take it easy, everybody. Talk to you soon.